Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very accomplished professional from Toronto, Canada, Taranum Khan. Taranum, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure's all mine.
Thank you. Taranum is a consultant for career, education, and recruitment. She's an advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and she's an author. So, Taranum, when we started talking, you were just telling me about your journey. So I'm going to now ask you, tell me about your journey when you started from Jammu.
Thank you for, mentioning Jammu, because that's where I started my life and everything rolled after. So Jammu and Kashmir is where I originate from. Very proud to be from India and, carry that in my heart wherever I am.
Wonderful.
As a small little girl from a small time, town, a sleepy little town when I was growing up, I never thought I'd be here and be recording for you, let's say, and have titles such as an author or as a consultant, and be working for big names such as Sanofi as a university recruiter. I mean, it's been quite a journey, but what I would say is, I would call myself a trailblazer if I can say so myself.
Absolutely, and you should.
So, for sure. And, after my education at Presentation Convent in Jammu, I went on to the University of Jammu, did my postgrad in literature, Department of English. From there, went on to have 10 years of career as the first woman to have joined administration at the University of Jammu. After 10 years of doing that, I wanted to explore the world. So along with my family, my two little sons, my husband, and my parents, we decided to explore Canada and landed here very near to Toronto in Brampton. And that's been my new home for the past, I would say, a little over a decade now. It's been quite interesting in terms of my career, because having studied literature, I never thought I would venture into so many different spaces and areas and sectors. But I have had the good fortune of working right from administration to the nonprofit sector to policy and alongside government projects, and have had and currently most recently in the RPO recruitment sector as well. So it's been phenomenal. It's been quite an adventure, and I'm loving every moment of it.
Fantastic. And what made you take a call to become a recruitment consultant and help so many individuals?
Well, I think it's more or less rests in my nature, I would say. I'm somebody who enjoys supporting and encouraging, especially young people. And when I landed here, that's why I chose a career in an education sector, and I was working in a university setting. But then when I landed here, I saw there was a gap in the way people, especially newcomers who were coming here as skilled immigrants or youth that were landing here as students, there was a big gap in terms of finding opportunities and being able to understand what is out here and overcoming those barriers and finding that connect. So I took it upon myself to work in the employment space, got certified with Career Professionals of Canada. I am their regional ambassador at the present time as well. So, I mean, that was the heart of it. I enjoy the work I do. I am very intentional in the choices I make when it comes to career. And that's what I recommend to everybody else as well. That's where it all started.
Fantastic.
I enjoy it.
Fantastic. And, if one looks at what the current situation is, what are you seeing as the current trends in the job market?
Well, it's no surprise that the job market is pretty volatile and in flux. I don't see it any different. I mean, it's not the first time that our world is going to see an economic downturn. It's not the first time that we'll see a recession, or it's not the first time that we are seeing inflation. All of these things continue to happen at all times. The difference is sometimes, it's like ebbs and flows and peaks and valleys. Right now, we're kind of in a peak time where things are, really in our face, I would say. That said, I don't see it as something that's not going to pass, or something that one should be really fearful of. Yes, we are seeing layoffs from the bigger corporate world, especially the tech giants. But that said, there's also these mid-sized businesses and these small startups that are hiring like nobody's business. While we are seeing layoffs, we are also seeing those same people announcing new opportunities on their profiles and finding these opportunities. Another thing that I'm seeing, and I think it's been present for a while now, since our world saw the shutdown and the COVID and whatnot, is the gig economy. It used to be there, but now it's becoming really, really prevalent and out there. So a lot of people are making sure that they have alternate support systems financially to look after themselves and their families if something was to happen.
Very interesting. And since you spoke about the gig economy, do you think young people will continue to be able to manage more than one job? Because I remember when I started working, it was almost like a cradle to grave kind of a job. You started working and you would stay for the rest of your life with it. I'd love to get your perspective.
It's interesting you say that. So that used to be the approach back in the day. And I'm talking even to up until my time, we'll call, I would put myself in the categories of later boomers, and that used to be the approach. But with the millennials and Gen Z, that does not exist anymore. And if I was to put myself on spot and say, hey, I left a very secure, stable position for myself, and uprooted along with my family and came here to start from scratch. I was told otherwise, and I threw caution to the wind and did that. I feel today's generation is even more inclined to do that. If you see the trend, nobody stays in one role for more than 2 years unless they have growth opportunities, unless they are seeing progression. So I definitely see that the younger generation is definitely looking at how they can make the best of work and life, enjoy it while they are working, and not just have the graveyard shift and just stick to one position. They're looking for opportunities. They're very smart and they're very intelligent in approaching opportunities that give them the best bang for their buck.
Fantastic. Thank you. Great response. So let's talk a little bit, Taranum, about how you support job seekers, because that's an area that you specialize in as well. So my first question to you is, what are some common mistakes a lot of job seekers make during the application and interview process?
Great question. Okay, so I'm gonna divide it into two segments. One piece is for youth that are either in school or recent graduates, and the other one is for newcomers to Canada.
Right.
So when we talk about young students or recent grads, the mistake they make is they become clickers. We have a term for it, clickers. They will have a single resume, and mindlessly, without seeing if the opportunity matches their interest, their career progression, whatever have you, they'll start just applying blindly, right? That happens a lot. And sometimes I've heard people say, oh, I apply for 300 jobs in a day, but I'm not hearing back. Well, that's not going to get you the results. So be mindful look for opportunities that are suitable.
Mm-hmm.
Go through the job posting in depth. See if you are, so this is called a 60-40 ratio.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 60% of what is being sought in a job posting, then take the time to prepare a tailored resume, which you might, you can have a master document, and you just need to pull from it and see what is most suitable for this opportunity. That is the pre-step where you're preparing your resume and then submitting the application. The second part is when it comes to interview, being ill-prepared for an interview. Always remember that what an employer is seeking is a personality test. It's not a test of your knowledge. It's a test of your likability. So are you presentable? First of all, when you are in an interview situation, have you taken the time to prepare and understand what the employer is looking for, whether you are empathetic, whether you are professional in the way you're approaching, your mannerisms? Have you taken the time to research the company? Have you taken the time to research who's going to be your interviewer? So all of that information in today's time is readily available. You can go and look at your company's website. You can look at the person that's interviewing you, their social media profiles, such as on LinkedIn, the professional pieces. You can take the time to even visit, if it's, let's say, you have applied for a bank. You can go and see what the culture looks like. What is their tagline? I would even encourage people, especially youth, when they're going in an interview, have a short presentation ready in terms of how will you be the most suitable person? What will you contribute to this employment opportunity? So being well prepared can be a game changer when you're approaching your job opportunities with interviews.
Amazing.
When it comes to newcomers, now newcomers are divided into segments where they can be either they can fall under regulated professions or under unregulated professions. So for regulated professions, you have to be well prepared to understand in terms of licensing, what do I need? And if you are from an unregulated profession, and even if you're from a regulated, what would be my alternate career till the time I have that license to be able to do the job? So for an engineer, for a doctor, you cannot come here and straight away say, I'm a engineer or a doctor and I'm ready to go. No, that's not going to happen.
Correct.
You will have to go do your licensing and certification to be able to work in the healthcare sector or in the engineering sector. Till the time that happens, you will have to find an alternate career. So when you are approaching the job market, do your research well. Find out where do you fall in the National Occupation Classification for Canada. Find out what your barriers are going to be. So that would be the first step when you're doing your job search. Second, take the time to learn about organizations over here. There's a ton of help available when you land in Canada through the settlement sector. Nonprofit organizations will help you build your resumes. They'll help you prepare for your interviews. They will also hold speed networking sessions with employers or job fairs. So take advantage of all of these opportunities. And finally, if you are a senior level professional who has at least 10 years, I would say, or more of experience, and you are looking for a leadership role, this will not cut it. So in that case, take the time to seek help from established coaches or executive coaches who can actually guide you into what an employer looks for when they are hiring a leader, when they are hiring an executive. So you really need to take the time to invest in yourself, take ownership of your job search, and make sure you're doing the right steps and approaching the opportunity with due preparation.
Well said. What an amazing set of points you've given to so many viewers and listeners in different aspects of people who may be looking for jobs or coming to Canada. My other question, Taranum, is that how important are soft skills when it comes to seeking a job?
Wow, what a question. I think 100% rests on your soft skills. Yes, qualifications are important. Yes, your degrees and whatnot is important. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, am I able to communicate? Am I able to live up to my punctuality? Because punctuality will count towards compliance. So being able to hold a conversation, being able to communicate in a professional manner is key. So soft skills are very, very important. So in fact, when we coach clients and whenever I have done any sessions, we divide these into like skill sets into two, hard and soft skills. And we emphasize that soft skills are actually more important than hard skills, because hard skills you can get training in. So you can go and take a course in how to do a certain thing, when whether it's through education or certification or training. But soft skills is another ball game. So pay attention to soft skills such as being a team player, such as being an effective communicator, being friendly, being likable. These are very, very important. And honestly speaking, Ashutosh, there's a lack of these skill sets in the present time. And due to nobody's fault, the whole shutdown that happened, especially in Canada, I'm going to tell you, the youth are really struggling with soft skills, because they experienced isolation, social isolation. They were not able to go to school.
Right.
Their whole high school time was spent at home. We are still being very cautious in how engagement happens. So we are still being, the events and socializing does not happen the way it used to back in the day before 2019. So there's a whole generation of people from that era that are struggling with soft skills. People have anxiety. People have a hard time having a phone conversation. They do not know what to say to a person, rather than answering in monosyllables such as yes and no answers. And I'm being very honest. This is not just me saying it. I was actually holding a session just yesterday, and this was a concern raised by many people. They were parents, they were coaches, these were entrepreneurs, and they were underlining this factor. People, especially who are introverts, have a harder time. So, I mean, in a nutshell, it is nobody's fault that this happened, but then the onus rests with oneself to go out there and seek help if you need it, and take the time to build your soft skills, because they are very important to employers in Canada. I've heard managers tell me that I would rather hire somebody who has a soft skill rather than invest in somebody who has a hard skill, because people need to be coachable. They're trainable.
Well
so
said. Well,
that's what it ends at.
No, fantastic response. Thank you. So one more question relating to recruitment, and then I want to move to your book.
Sure.
What are the benefits and challenges of working with an agency, both for job seekers and employers? So, my question is, why should job seekers and employers come to Taranum?
Well, okay. Another fantastic question, because sometimes people are just not aware what a recruitment agency can do for themselves.
Correct.
The one thing that even before I go into the benefits of why or why not, the first thing that I want to kind of say is a word of caution. Any agency that asks you to pay you, when I'm talking about job seekers, is an agency that you do not want to work with. Because recruiters and recruitment agencies get paid from the employer. So it's a scam. The minute a recruiter asks you, pay me and I will get you a job, you want to steer clear. That's the first thing for a job seeker. In terms of why job seekers or employers should or should not work with recruiters. So recruiters and recruitment companies act as a bridge for the employers and job seekers. Now, for job seekers, they are looking for good opportunities. They're looking for, especially when newcomers land here, they're looking for what they can get to have their foot in the door, right? They might not know. So, and this is a barrier that newcomers experience, whether they're students or skilled immigrants. When they come here, they lack connections and they lack networks or knowledge of who are the employers that I could potentially be hired by. You might know a couple of people, you might know a couple of names in terms of employers, but you might not know there are others that exist there. So the recruiters or recruitment agencies can act as that facilitator to find you the opportunities that are most suitable. They will interview you. They will put you in, take your resume and put it in their database. Anytime a job opportunity matches, they will, kind of facilitate that interaction with the employer. So it's a win-win. You're not paying them anything upfront, at least, because their remuneration is coming from the employer. So it's a great way to get started. It's an easy win, let's put it that way, for job seekers to get resume, the experience they need on their resume, and make that first connection, or even a bigger connection. So that is for the job seekers. For employers, again, employers are looking for talent. And with what is happening in today's world, their focus is on their own products and services. Quite a few employers do not have a full in-house recruiter or recruitment strategy department that takes care of that business. So RPOs are phenomenal with the knowledge, the skill set, and the resources to help the employer with their needs, whether it's understanding how equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging happens in a workplace, making sure that they're following all of that, or finding the right, most suitable talent from across the globe for them, and then also helping them onboard that employee and make an employee experience which is extraordinary. All of this expertise rests with these RPOs because that is what they do. That is their business. So it puts the mind of the employer at rest. Instead of spending all their energy into these kind of activities, they can just focus on their own expertise, their own product, what they are putting out, whether it's if it was, let's say, pharma, they will focus on their production and manufacturing and research instead of focusing on where do we find this next scientist. So the RPO can help make that connection for them, and that's the business we are in.
Fantastic. So Taranum, I have time for one more question, and I want to ask you about your book. You are an author. I didn't find any more details about your book in what you sent to me, but tell me about your book.
Well, I have 3 contributions in terms of books. The first one I did is called Ignite Your Life for Women. The second book that I contributed to is called Ignite Your Female Leadership. And the third one is 21 Resilient Women, Stories of Courage, Growth, and Transformation.
Amazing.
In all those 3, these are all collaborations by women who have experienced situations in their life and wanted to tell a story to help another person find ground. So, or anybody who could take away a lesson or a pointer to help them facilitate their life. So it's stories or experiences from life that I have told. Whether the first one has something from my early part of my life when I was in Jammu. I worked with the university, that experience, and then compared with an experience that I had in Canada. Difficult experiences that put me on edge, and how I emerged as a leader in overcoming that barrier and moving forward with grit. So that is the first one, and the two others are similar stories. So that's something that I can tell you in a nutshell.
Amazing. And on that note, Taranum, what an amazing conversation I've had with you. I mean, the entire conversation was full of amazing lessons, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers and listeners will take away so many different aspects of how to do a good interview, how to prepare for it's almost like a preparation 101 to come to Canada or to any other country. I love the way you spoke about clickers. I was grateful you spoke at such length about your journey from Jammu to Canada, and I'm sure you and your family took a lot of risks, but I'm delighted that you're so well settled. Thank you for speaking to me, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.